Hi, welcome to this video tutorial on tweaking materials with Color ID. I'll be going over the creation of a Color ID map and using that to generate a look with Substance Painter. Then I'll do the same with iClone's mixer material, which can be purchased with the Super Substance Tools content pack. You can download the resource files for this tutorial from the provided links below. First, let's set up Painter's environment to be compatible with iClone. Under the File menu, create a new project. Set the template to PBR Metallic Roughness, and I'll load the sci-fi helmet that is available from the resource files. It is also crucial to set the normal map format to OpenGL in order to match iClone. And I'll set the document resolution to 2048 for now. But keep in mind that we can change this parameter as we go. I'm also going to load in the additional maps provided with the resource files. This includes the world space normals, thickness, position, normal, curvature, and ambient occlusion maps. Painter can also automatically assign the additional maps into the right channels if the texture files follow their naming convention. This is typically the texture set name followed by an underscore and followed by the name of the additional map slot. You can use this legend as a guide if you want automatic map assignment. I can also slot in the additional maps manually by browsing to the project folder and drag and dropping the maps into their appropriate channels. Now the scene is set up and ready to go. With a Color ID map, the texture process becomes a lot easier. So let's begin by making a new folder to house the Color ID and its layers. Under this folder, I can make 3 fill layers for the base, secondary, and tertiary parts. Each one of these fill layers corresponds to a different material. And since I'll only need to set the base color value, I'll turn off the other material channels that are not required. I'm setting the base material to pure black, secondary material to pure red, and tertiary material to pure green. You can use the color input fields to get the exact RGB values. Let's get rid of this useless layer 1. Now, for the layers besides the base, I'll add a black mask and switch to the Polygon Fill tool. And since the helmet is symmetrical, I can double my working speed by activating this convenient symmetry mode, which displays as this red mirror plane. Make sure the Polygon Fill tool is set to a white color, and I'll start off in UV Island mode to mark portions in red. More than likely, the red parts will be reserved for some hard materials like metal. I'll also do the same for the green color channel to mark the areas I want to designate as glass. Going back into the red layer, I'll change the masking color to black in order to delete parts of the mask. By using the polygon mode, I can pick the faces of the mesh to designate as the base color. The black portions of the helmet can be a soft material like rubber or plastic. This tool also works in the 2D mode, and just like before, I can pick the faces directly. You can use the hotkeys F1 to F3 to switch between the different viewing modes. I tend to switch in and out of different viewing modes while working. Now, for parts that cannot be picked via UVs, geometry, or faces, I'll need to resort to the paint tool. Pick this default hard brush and start to manually paint in or paint out the masking. You may find it easier to outline the parts and then fill in the rest in the middle like I'm doing here. You can also scale the brush by using the bracket's hotkeys, with the right bracket to scale up and left bracket to scale down. Okay, let's skip over the details, and what we have here is the finished color ID material with the green, red, and black base color. Time to export this as the color ID texture, and in order to do so, I'll need to create a new export configuration. Just press this plus button and name the new configuration Color ID. Add a RGB channel and drag and drop this base color input map setting right on top of it. Select to override all of the RGB channels. Now, I'm going to another preset to copy the naming conventions to paste into the name field. I'll take out the mesh portion of the name because I would rather use the material name only, and I'll change the naming suffix to ID. Go back to the Export tab and select an appropriate output directory. And pick the config setting that we have just made and make sure to override the settings for the padding. Set it to no padding pass-through because we don't want the edges of the colors to encroach on one another. Export this as the final color ID map. Now that's done, I'm going into the same project to hide the color ID layer. And let's drag in the exported map into the shelf region of Substance Painter and set the resource type to texture. Import this for the current project only. You can find this map under the project folder. From there, I can drag this texture directly into the color ID map portion for the additional maps. Now comes the fun part. I can just browse around for the 3 materials that I want for the helmet. I'll need some industrial metal material like this one called machinery, and a glass material for the visor. And perhaps this plastic hexagon material for the softer portions of the helmet. Time to apportion these materials by creating individual masks. So, I'll just apply a black mask and perform Add Color Selection. Now, just click on this Pick Color button to display the ID mask in the viewport, and simply select the color region to drop this material. Next, I'll do the same with the visor material, this time for the green regions. And I'll do it too with the plastic material for the black regions. Okay, let's take a look at the final results. The material is a bit blurry, but that's okay because we can just increase the texture size resolution here. Now, you may notice some white outline artifacts around the masks of the material. That's actually caused by the gaps in the borders of the color channels. To fix this, I'll create a fill layer and put it at the bottom beneath all of the other layers and set its base color to pure black. It's looking a lot better. And from here on out, I can start to tweak the materials as I see fit. For example, I can create a new fill layer and apply a smart mask on it to simulate some sort of dusk effect. Let's exaggerate this effect to get a better sense of the possibilities. Alright, let's skip forward to where I have finished all of the material tweaks and modifications. So what I have here is the helmet separated into 3 different materials: rubber, metal, and glass. I also have this base fill layer to fill in the seams of the color ID map. For the final step in this tutorial, I'll also apply materials to the blank slate helmet directly inside iClone. This time, I'll be using the Mixer 3 material that comes as a part of the Super Substance Tools content pack. After installation, you can find the Mixer 3 material under Content, Media, Material, Substance Super Tools directory. Simply drag over the RL Mixer 3 material right onto the model, and we'll need to go to the Modify Texture Substance category to start tweaking this super material. We must first load in the mesh data maps that comes with this helmet by enabling the Use Inputs option. Let's begin with the maps that we do have. Just double click and browse for the image. And this is the color ID map that was exported from Substance Painter. The rest of the mesh data maps are packaged with the helmet. Okay, let's start to adjust the default materials. I'm going to drill down into the base black channel and set the material type to fabric. Under fabric, I'll select this nylon material. Now, if I enable the tweak option, I can start to adjust the look of this nylon material. Let's move on to the secondary material by drilling into red. This time I'll select the pure gold material, but I'm going to tweak it to look like a common metal instead. On top of this metal, I can apply a layer of paint by enabling paint peel and tweaking its parameters to suit my taste. I can also enable the rust option to layer on the effects of wear and tear. Finally, let's work on the visor material by drilling down into the green channel. And I'll start off again with the pure gold. And by using the tweak settings, I can get something that is more mirror-like, much like plated glass. This is the final result when all is said and done. As you can see, the effect is quite different from what we have in Substance Painter. But the look and feel is pretty cool nonetheless. Also, it took about 15 minutes to create as compared to hours with Substance Painter. That concludes this tutorial on tweaking materials with Color ID. Thanks for watching.